So the other day I drew some pictures at Taft Elementary to talk about kindness. It felt odd drawing again with my right hand, but God used it, right? God manages to do something incredible with it. And the same can be said of you. The story I told of the Samaritan was about helping your neighbors, about slowing down on the journey, to have the courage to help someone in need. You've heard this story, right? It's the response to Jesus saying the most important thing is to love God and love neighbor, right? So if the job was just get there as fast as you can, then leaving him behind was fine. But it wasn't. Love your neighbor was the question. Who's your neighbor? Well, let me tell you something about a neighborly person. The Samaritan, who loved his neighbor. Listen to him. Love your neighbor. What does it sound like? It's good. It's good for your neighbor, even the neighbor who is different. It's calling you to, if you feel like you should dislike someone, that you cannot tolerate someone anymore, if you hear that voice, turn it off. That's not of God. That's not God's voice, because that's not what God's voice does. If your voice that you hear tells you, you know what would be better is if this person hurt, is if this person suffered. That would fix them. Turn it off. If it's calling you to love, to maybe look past their sins and maybe look at our own, there we go. There's something that sounds like God. If it's calling us to look past our neighbors, to look at our own mistakes, to look how we can love them better, okay, maybe we should listen to that. If it's calling you to love and to welcome, we want to listen to that. If it's calling you to get to work in helping your neighbor, turn it up. Keep listening. Because that's an invitation from God. But know this, know that challenge, that invitation is a long call. It is slow. It is good, but it is slow. I call it the long obedience. And I like that word, but now I'm starting to dislike that word because it's taking a lot of time. But it's a long obedience in the same direction, which is love. That's the voice of God.